The night in the grinders camp on their safari, Nikita told Klein Jan some of her story. Klein Jan just sat quietly and listened to the girl. This was the first time that she actually talked to him about things in her past. The first thing that she mentioned was that her surname was Putin. And when she saw Klein Jan's eyes widen, she laughed and said, no, not that one. That is my dad's brother. He's actually my uncle. So, there you have it. That is my family background. Some of her friends entered a profile for her on a Russian bride website. When she found out, she was first very angry, but then after a while she just laughed about it, and then the emails started coming in and she talked to a lot of guys, but there was one guy from South Africa, very persistent, and after 3 months he came over to Russia to visit her. He was quite a pleasant guy, and her parents was impressed with him, and he was very, very kind to her, and he was actually quite interesting, and she liked him. He came back to South Africa and they continued the correspondence, and then 3 months after that he came back to Russia again, and this time he proposed to her, and after a lot of thought she decided, okay, she'll marry him. They got married and came back to South Africa, and that is when her nightmare started. When they arrived on his farm, first thing he did was he took her cell phone away. And then from there on, matters just got worse. He was abusive, and he was very rude. He never physically abused her, because being the girl that she is, and coming from the family that she is quite capable of defending herself. And he never laid hands on her. But then one day, he used her like labor on the farm. And she was not allowed to make contact with anybody. She never could go to town on her own, nothing. She was basically a prisoner. And then one night, there was an accident, and she fell and injured her arm. During the night, the pain got worse, and the next morning he took her to the doctor in town. He dropped her off with clear instructions not to talk to anybody. And he went to the co-op. In there was where she met Cookie Doll. She started talking to Cookie Doll, and within minutes, she asked her if she could borrow her phone. Cookie Doll, being what she is, gave her the phone. And she saw Nikita sending a lot of messages. And she got some messages back, and then she had to go into the doctor, and she gave the phone back to Cookie Doll. That night Cookie Doll looked at the phone and she saw everything was in Russian. And she forgot about it. And then 3 days later, she got a message from a guy in Russia. And he asked her if she could give him a Google pin to where Nikita was. So Cookie Doll did it, because she knows Nikita's husband, Alan Windy. And yeah, everybody knows him, but he's not very likable, and he doesn't social, so yeah. So she sent the guy the pin, and that was the end of it. And about 3 weeks after that, she got a message again from the same Russian number, but this time it was Nikita, and Nikita asked her to meet her in town. So Cookie Doll went to town, and she met Nikita, and then Nikita told her the story, that it was her 2 brothers that was talking to Cookie Doll, and they came to South Africa after she spoke to them. They came to the farm and they sorted Ellen out. Long story short, they took him and Nikita and they went to Cape Town. There, a few phone calls were made and they went to Home Affairs and the marriage was annulled. But then Nikita said to them she doesn't want to come back to Russia now. She wants to stay in South Africa. And that is how she contacted Cookie Doll. Cookie Doll arranged for her to stay in one of Wilhelmine's guest cottages. And Nikita liked it on Rhenosterkop. And then she asked Cookie Doll if there was nowhere where she can work. She likes mechanical stuff and she's quite handy. And that is how Cookie Doll sent her to Klein-Jan. All the time Klein-Jan just looked at her and shook his head. He could not believe what she was telling him. But he was actually very glad that this girl walked into his life. He was a loner his whole life, as you know. And here is this little Russian, and she is busy stealing his heart. Let's see what the future holds.